Hello there, friends, and welcome back to Sesh Cast. My name is GLDLX. This is Sesh Cast, a cannabis podcast for cannabis sessions. And today, I'm going to talk about what video games taught me. Really specifically, what video games taught me, actually. It's kind of interesting how I got here to this topic. But I've realized that in my life, I have learned a very important lesson from video games, and I'm going to talk about that. I am also going to complete this 3-part series that I have incidentally done. I realized today, or yesterday, or the other day, whatever day that was, I listened the other day back to my last couple podcasts and realized that they connect very well, and realized that I actually wanted to do a third part to those, like one more episode that kind of relates back. And I realized that I've accidentally done a 3-part series on my podcast without even trying. I had zero intention. I didn't plan it this way. It just kind of happened this way. And that's kind of interesting too. So that is the game plan for today. I'm going to talk about what video games taught me. I'm going to complete the 3-part series. And I'm going to smoke this joint that I just rolled up on Instagram. So this is a significantly better joint than the last joint I rolled on this show, first off. I don't remember what episode that was. Different, maybe? Which I think was episode 12? I don't know. I don't totally remember, TBH. The picture's on my Instagram if you want to hunt for it. But the last time I rolled up a joint on Instagram Live, it was ugly. Did not look good. And I smoked it anyway. It smoked great, and that's really all that matters. I don't care so much about aesthetics. But today, I rolled up another joint on Instagram Live, and thanks to the people who hung out on my Instagram Live today, it was actually a really, really good stream. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for hanging out today. But today, I rolled with the Randy's Wired rolling papers, which I don't know that I've talked about on the show before, but are hands down my favorite rolling papers because it's literally like rolling with training wheels. Like it is beginner level rolling. It's super great, and I love it. So the Wired rolling papers, on the opposite side of the paper from the glue is this one thin little wire that runs the length of the paper. And it's real small, real thin. And the thing is that as these papers burn, you can fold the wire down because the wire stays. The paper burns, but the wire stays. And you have a little roach clip, like a pre-attached roach clip, which is great for people like me who refuse to let go of a joint until the filter is on fire and don't always carry roach clips with them. So it's super convenient for that. It is also super convenient because it makes rolling so simple. Because on the other side of your paper from your glue, you have a wire keeping that paper completely in line with itself. So when you go to tuck, it's really easy. Like it's a very uniform tuck every single time because you don't have to worry about trying to like go and incrementally tuck your paper along the edge of your joint, and it just works really, really well. It's just, this is a great product, and I really like it. I'm not sponsored by Randy's in any way. I just really like these papers, and they're my favorite. So I felt like I should tell you that. In case you were looking for rolling papers or wanted to start rolling. Like, if you want to start rolling, you want to learn how to roll, buy these. Anybody can roll with these papers. I guarantee it. Like, you watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos and buy yourself a pack of Randy's Wired Randy's Wired rolling papers, you will roll like a champion. True story. So speaking of products that I like, the other thing that was super crucial to this episode, which is what I'm going to feature in the Instagram pictures, is my Lift Innovations grinder, which I have talked about on the show the last time I rolled a joint, but I want to go into a little bit more detail on this because I'm not featuring a piece of glass this episode, and I'm not really featuring the joint that I'm doing. I just want to talk about this grinder. So my Lift Innovations grinder was one of, if not the best Christmas presents I've ever gotten. B is 110% the last grinder I'll ever need. And C is, I think, honestly, the best, like, marijuana paraphernalia that I own. And I'll just put that out there right now. I love this thing, and it's amazing. And if you consider yourself to be someone who smokes weed often and a cannabis connoisseur of sorts, I think the Lift Innovations grinder is something that everyone should have, and I stand behind that wholeheartedly. Again, not sponsored by Lift. Yo, Lift, want to sponsor me? That'd be great. Let me know. But I'm not currently. These grinders are 4-piece grinders. You can get them in a 4-piece, and I think maybe as a 3-piece too. Don't quote me on that. But mine is a 4-piece, and it's super well built. It's super solid. It's super heavy. Like, this thing could actually be used as a weapon. But it's great because you can take every single piece of it apart. So you can take the magnet basically out of the lid. You can take the saw blade, because that's the other thing. That's the big thing about this grinder, right? So most grinders have teeth, crush up your herb. Lift Innovations grinder has a spinning saw blade. So when you spin the top of it, it spins this little jagged edge, and that kind of grates your weed on this little cheese grater disc that acts as your bottom plate with holes in it. So it's awesome. So you've got a saw blade you can take out. You can change that cheese grater plate. You can make it finer or coarser, or like one in the middle. And then you can also take out, and this is clutch, you can take out the screen of your keef catch. So you can actually clean all of the keef out of the screen of your keef catch, which is big time if you're a 4-part grinder user. You know that all the time you're hitting that screen with a toothbrush, and you get a ton of keef out of there, but you just can't get it out of the edges. Lift Innovations grinder, you totally can. It's bomb. Yeah, and you can take the whole thing apart. You can clean the whole thing. You can change the coarseness or fineness of your keef catch screen. Also clutch. It is a great piece of thing. I love it. Since I'm not featuring a piece of glass this episode, I wanted to talk about something, and I wanted to talk about that grinder. So, again, not sponsored. Let me say that one more time. Not sponsored. Just telling you about a product that I really love. And if you are in the market for a grinder and willing to spend a little bit of coin, because it is a little bit pricey, worth it. Definitely worth it. In this joint is I Don't Know, some weed from the family house jar, as well as some Skywalker OG, because the Solo movie comes out tomorrow, and I'm going to see it with some buddies. So, well, technically it comes out today. Solo comes out the day that this episode is released. So, going to see that. So I threw some Skywalker OG in here, plus some other stuff from the house jar. So I'm going to go ahead and light this guy up, get him going, and I'm just going to puff on this for a little while, just like I did the last episode that I smoked a joint. I'm just going to kind of puff on this and talk, and I'll let a long string of music go underneath it. So let me get this going. And she smokes. Smokes great. That's all I need. The one downside about these papers is that they're not like organic or hemp or anything. So they end up smelling a little bit, which is kind of a bummer, I think, because they smell a little bit like cigarettes, which, not the greatest. But they do burn pretty even, don't get me wrong. They're not bad papers by any means. Hoobly doobly. Man, this guy's really going. I did a really good job rolling this. I'm proud of myself. Really am. Alright. That is enough of that for now. You calm down, sir. You stop it. This is what I decided worked really, really well. The last time I did a joint episode, come on, go out. I would light the joint up every 10 minutes or so, just puff on it for a little while, and play some long music bed underneath it. So that's the game plan for today. And then I'll just let that mellow for a little while so I can talk. Other interesting thing about today, I didn't smoke before today's episode, technically. So I am recording at about 1:45 a.m. And I smoked a few hits out of a bong, 11-ish, maybe, give or take. Split a couple bongs with some buddies, so I'm a little bit there. But then at 11, I had a pretty sizable edible, just some ABV. I've got a roommate who vapes most of his herb. It's just his personal preference, and so he just kind of donates his ABV to the populace of the house, because if you don't know, you can just eat ABV; it'll get you high. It's already been decarbed, so I'm on a little bit of an ABV kick, and it is. I'm 2 minutes from 1 a.m. and I ate that right around 11 o'clock, so it should hit me. Actually, I guess I smoked those bongs a little closer to 10:30ish. But that edible should hit me here pretty soon. Also, my nose is really itchy, so I keep covering my mouth. So I'm sorry if I sound like I'm talking towards and then away from the microphone. That's my bad. That edible should be hitting me like any minute now, which that should be interesting because I don't always handle edibles the best. So, to finally get into today's topic, because we've talked about literally everything but that, today I want to finish my 3-part series that started with my inspiration episode and then moved on to my tired episode. And now today we're going to talk about grind, or grinding, or being on your grind, or any of that stuff. Like, this is this weird realization that I had when I was listening back to those episodes, that like as I was listening to myself talk, and then as I've been listening to podcasts and TV shows and specials and things from other influencers that I follow, I have been hearing this same concept, and I've been hearing this from my friends too, and it's something I've been telling myself. And that sentence, or that sentiment, is you've always got to be on your grind. If you want to make it, you've got to be grinding 24/7, 365. That's the only way to make it in this world. Got to be on your grind. If you don't know what on your grind means, let me break that down for you. Basically, you have always got to be working towards your dream 175% of the time. That's the only way to make it. Like, you just gotta bury your head and go every minute of every day forever. Be on your grind 100% of the time or you won't make it. That is the sentiment that I'm hearing everywhere. And so while I was listening to myself talk in my inspiration episode, and while I was listening to myself talk in my tired episode, I think that I kind of realized that I have decided, let me rephrase that. I think that I have realized that I disagree with that sentiment. I don't think that you need to be on your grind 24/7, 365, because I think if you are, you're gonna miss out. And video games taught me that. I'm serious. So, I'm gonna holla at you gamers here for a second. I am not an RPG player. Not my favorite thing. Not my favorite type of games. Actually, it's my least favorite type of games. I'm a platformer kind of guy. But I do dabble in some RPGs. I play a lot of video games, so I play all senses of games. What I don't really enjoy are games that require mass amounts of grinding. Now, for those of you who don't play a ton of video games, let me explain to you what grinding means. Basically, that same thing I was talking about earlier, except in a video game sense, you are completing mindless tasks, or like doing the same thing over and over again, hanging out in the same area that you are better than to gain skill and experience, or level up, or gain health, or gain items. You are just doing the same boring thing over and over and over and over again until you achieve a high enough standard to move on to the next meaningless thing to grind your way through. And I realized that that is the way I've been treating my life. And if I don't like it in video games, why am I doing it in my real life? And that sort of led me to think maybe I should grind in real life the way I grind in video games. And that's what I want to talk about. This idea that we're treating that we are looking at the world as the only way to succeed is to be on your grind 367 245. I butchered that, I know, but we're moving on. So like you just have to always be on your grind or you're never going to get anywhere. And what I realized is that when I'm playing video games, I can't spend all my time grinding or I lose interest in the game. Like, you gotta move forward at some point, and you've gotta go enjoy the rest of the experience, or you're just gonna burn out on the game. And one of the things I noticed that in was actually Super Mario Odyssey, which is a game for the Nintendo Switch. If you don't have it, sorry, you're missing out. If you do have it, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. But Super Mario Odyssey is one of my favorite games, possibly my favorite game of all time. And Super Mario Odyssey does a really good job of letting you advance through the game without beating every single part of a stage before you can move on, or doing every single little menial task before you move on. And then you complete the game, and then it gives you the option to go back and do all the little menial tasks, which is great. Now, I played Super Mario Odyssey like a fiend until I finished the story, and then I went back and I grinded for a long while, and then I realized that without the sense of moving forward, without the exploration of more and going to do more, I was losing interest in the game itself. And now I'm looking at life that way in a sense, and I want to, I think, encourage people to consider doing that also. I've started to realize that I am spending a lot of my time right now grinding. I am someone who is on my grind all the time, always trying to move up, always trying to further my career, always trying to everything. And I think that I'm missing out. Like, I gotta stop and smell the roses. And I think that by realizing that, it's made me realize that maybe other people don't realize that either. Because I don't think you need to be on your grind all the time, because I think you get burnt out easier. I think everybody gets burnt out easier than they expect themselves to. Because I think the first half of getting burnt out is completely subconscious. You know, you don't really realize you're getting burnt out on your favorite thing until you're completely burnt out. It's like getting dehydrated, right? I don't know if you know this or not, but this is science and this is real. You don't feel thirsty until you are already past the point of dehydration. You are dehydrated by the time you feel like, I should drink some water, which is why you should be drinking a lot more water than you are, unless you're already a gallon a day kind of person. So that is the same, I think, for burning out on things you love. You don't feel burnt out until you're really I hate doing this thing that I used to love doing. You don't realize that you're losing your interest in it. And I think I'm going to talk about that a little, I'm going to talk about that in my own career, in a little bit, or for a little bit, after I take another few puffs of this joint. So let me get this lit back up. Let's get it lit, fam. I think I might have to puff on this. Give me a second. We back. It is really fun smoking joints on the show. Don't get me wrong, it's fun smoking joints all the time. I love smoking joints. Joints and dry pipes. Favorite way to smoke weed. Even though sometimes they make me cough to death. And I hope people don't think it's weird that I don't cut this out and that I put the music in here. Honestly, I just kind of like it. I enjoy sharing the music that I make with folks, for one. And for 2, oh no. For 2, my hope, in a sense, is that, like, people smoke along with me. Because that was kind of why I started this podcast, is like, yeah, you need somebody to sesh with. Here I am. Let me sesh with you for a little while. So I hope you're smoking along. If you're into that sort of thing. If you're not, that's cool, no worries. But if you are, I hope you're smoking along. I hope whatever you're smoking is great. I hope you get hella stoned. Cheers. All right. Let's quiet her down. I gotta hit this joint for a little while longer. There's not very much left of it. I will say these papers burn pretty fast. That is a downside. But I should be able to hit that 2 more times. Or light that 2 more times, I should say. Self-control, friends. Truly. Have you ever had a lit joint in your hand and then put it out and saved it for later? Not easy. It's not easy being cheesy. Yeah. So, anyway. Let me talk about sort of this grind idea in my own career in an interesting way here. I don't talk about my radio career on this show very often, or I haven't yet. I guess I should say yet, because I'm sure it's something that if I continue to both do this podcast and remain in the radio career, I'm going to get a little inside baseball every once in a while, because that's just kind of the nature of this podcast. And that's something I enjoy talking about. Like, I enjoy talking inside baseball, not only about my own job and my own hobbies and stuff, but like about other people's too. I don't know. I like back office stuff. It's just the kind of person I am. So I hope you're here for it. So I am a radio DJ. That is like the career thing. And basically what that means is that, like, I am in the process. Okay, and let me clarify. I am a young radio DJ. I am fresh in the game radio DJ, and I am trying to make it radio DJ. So, like, what I mean is that I am kind of in the process of, like, and I'm going to say this in a really vain way and then explain what I mean. So follow me on this one. But, like, I am in the process of trying to get famous. Now, let me 110% clarify that, like, that is not my drive. Like, my drive is not, like, I just want to be known, I just want to be famous. That's not where I am. Like, that's not who I am, that's not what I am, nothing of that. But, like, in a sense, as a broadcast entertainer, that is your measure of, like, success. It's hard to describe. It really is. And I wish that I could describe it to you. But, like, your level of fame and popularity really is what elevates you in the broadcast media world. It's weird. I'm sure that this is the same for, like, celebrities and movie stars and stuff like that. But, like, that's not the where I have experience. I'm talking, like, radio and, like, TV, but, like, public broadcast TV, but specifically radio. Like, what defines your amount of success is how known you are. And that can be localized, that can be on a national scale, that can be on a local scale, that can be on sort of like a cult scale, because it's all defined to your market. But how many people know who you are in the town that you are broadcasting in is what measures how successful you are as a DJ. That's the best way I think I can explain that. And I know that's kind of interesting in inside baseball, and it sounds kind of vain. And I'm sorry, I don't mean it to. This is just sort of like the inside baseball of broadcast media and, like, trying to make it, in a sense, in the entertainment industry. It's interesting and weird. Because you don't want that to be what drives you, and at the end of the day, it is kind of the end goal. It's weird. So, now that you have all of that backstory, let me tell you that, like, I spend basically every single day trying to grow my DJ presence a little bit. So in a sense, I am on my grind in that way every single day. Not only with my radio job, but I also work at a rock climbing gym, and so I work there pretty regularly to pay the bills. And I have this podcast, obviously. I have another podcast that I'm on. Like, I am involved in a lot of things because I am in the constant effort of forwarding my exposure and my growth as a broadcaster. It's interesting and it's weird. So now you know a little bit about me and who I am in my life. Thanks for being here for that. So, you can put all that behind you if you want. If you're like, that was all weird, we're going to go a different way now. So, this, like, around this, like, last weekend, these last couple weeks, I've had some really amazing experiences as a DJ. I've interviewed some bands who I never in my life thought I would have been talking to. Some of my, like, favorite bands from when I was a kid that if you would have told me, like, yeah, you'll be on the couch with guys from 3 Days Grace, or you'll be on the couch with guys from Stone Sour. And that's not to, like, name drop. This is just, like, that's what I care about, like, rock music. That's what I grew up on. So, like, if you would have told me that as a kid, I never would have believed you. And here I was these last couple weeks in some of these, like, these situations where I got to step back and say, like, wow, I have been grinding so hard that I did not even take a minute to sit back and realize my own success. And that's important because I've been treating myself like making no progress. You know, I've been spending a ton of time like talking to myself and acting like and treating myself like I have not grown at all. I have made no progress towards my life goal. And here it was like living proof in the sense of like where I was and the situations that I was able to be a part of, where I could realize like I have actually done a lot. I have succeeded a lot. I have made growth and distance, and that's big and cool, and I should appreciate that. And that was kind of when I realized that I'm grinding so hard, I have been grinding so hard, that like I've not been appreciating that. And that's a gosh darn crime, man. I've been robbing myself of happiness for no reason other than to attain more happiness. Like that has been something that's holding me back in a way. Where I've been slighting myself and treating myself like I have not accomplished, while I am accomplishing because I am trying to accomplish more. Let me say that again, but backwards so that both sides connect in case they didn't. I have been trying so hard to do well that I have been so distracted by trying to do well that I have not noticed I have been doing well. So I've been telling myself that I'm not doing well, and I have to keep trying hard to do well. And that's like that's a crime of the brain, man. That is something that I'm not super jazzed that my brain has been doing to me. And something that I am now trying to like rationalize my way through. And that was a thought that I wanted to share in case in case that you are really kind of in that same mindset right now, that you're grinding so hard that you aren't realizing that you are actually doing pretty okay. I'm gonna light this joint back up. I'm gonna take a drink and I'm gonna try and relate this back a little bit. Now that I've talked about me for a little while, let me talk about you, or let me try to like connect to you in some way. So first things first, I need a drink because I can hear my own mouth, and that's weird. And then I'm gonna light that joint back up. I'm gonna hate myself editing that back because that's gonna be a really hard gap to find. Well, good luck, future me. So here we go. Let me light this drink back up for a minute. body. Man, I am going to be freaking baked by the time I go to bed. I'm way late on this record. Like, way later than it should be in time. It is way later than it should be in the week for me to be recording. I do not enjoy recording episodes on the day they come out. It is stressful. And it's not fun to stress about smoking weed in your basement. But this is a good joint, though. I'm really impressed with the way that this is burnt. Which is kind of funny that I'm talking about it, because, like, you don't know. You can't see it. That's kind of weird. Let me talk about this thing you can't see. Could describe it like the old school radio days. Maybe someday, maybe one of these days, I'll just do a podcast about being on the radio. And why radio? Yeah, I'll do a radio episode at some point. So that way, I'll just talk about, like, my career for an episode. And that way, if there are a bunch of people who, like, I don't care about you. Like, dude, do the podcast. Like, your personal life isn't what I care about. You can just skip that episode. I'll film this for a minute longer and I'll get back to it. Sorry about the music again. I've said this for a couple episodes, but I really need to download new sample packs. I just haven't yet. I'm sorry. We'll get some new canned music in the background soon. Let me go ahead and put this out so that I have just the littlest bit left to smoke at the end of today. Get a little pre-roached roach for me. Again, self-control, friends. Trust me. There's not much left of this joint. Self-control is a really good thing to have, I think. Maybe that kind of goes into this point. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll see if I can connect that. I may just let that go. So, how I think that this can relate to the populace. I think that this is real for a lot of people in my generation. I don't want to exclude you if you're not in my generation. I just dropped my joint in my ashtray, but I got it out, and it doesn't look too disgusting. That's great. So, I think that this happens a lot in my generation, but I think that who this really happens a lot for is not a generational thing, but is a career path thing. I think that a lot of people who are trying to make it in a different, like, in their own way, owning a small business, starting a small business, like, just trying to do any sort of, like, career that is not, I don't know. I'm struggling to describe this. Maybe this just happens to everybody. Maybe I don't. Yeah, okay. Maybe I believe this. Maybe, just maybe, this is an everybody problem. Like, I don't know, because I am not everybody. I haven't talked to everybody about this. So let me just address this as if it's an everybody thing, right? I think pretty much anybody right now could be in the situation where they feel like they are not succeeding in what they're doing. And that could be because people are telling them that they should continue to work harder, or they feel like they should be working harder, or something. I'm not 100% sure what exactly causes this, but I think that, like, people, I'm starting to get real high. Man, that edible just kicked in. Boy, oh boy. Whew. All right. Sorry. Man, hot dog. You know, edibles, you just go over the hill of the roller coaster. Like, it's just kind of like, all right, if you've never done an edible, when you get high from an edible, okay, when you smoke, Like, you smoke weed and you kind of get high incrementally. You get a little higher the more you smoke. Like, you wait a little while, you get a little higher. You feel it coming on. Edibles, not like that in most cases. Edible is like, you're good, you're fine, you don't feel it, and then bam, like, you're high now. Like, good luck. You're on your own. And so I just got hit like a bus. Oh my gosh. All right. So you're on your grind, right? Let me get back onto that. Okay. Grind. I think that where a lot of people are right now is that they feel like they have to be on their grind 100% of the time. Maybe that's because people are telling them they have to be on their grind 100% of the time. Maybe that's because they feel like that's the only way to get better. I don't know why people feel like they always need to be grinding 100% of the time. Some people do, some people don't. I don't know. But I think that, like, people feel that way, and they get so caught up in working 100% to get better that they don't take a chance to realize that they're working at something they're good at, or they have succeeded. They've done well. And what I want to encourage you to do is take a minute to step back and say, like maybe I've made some progress. Like, where am I actually at? Where did I actually start with this? Because there are video games that I pick up that, like, I am dramatically better at now than I was, 2 years ago. Then there are times in my career where I listen to a recording of myself from a week ago and I listened to a recording of myself a year ago, and it's night and day difference of how much better I sound now than I did then. And, like, I don't always take time to play games from 2 years ago. And I don't always take time to go back and listen to old recordings of myself. So I never take time to appreciate how far I've actually come. And I grind so hard that I never stop and smell the roses. And I think that it's a very important thing to stop and smell the roses. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the end. Let me just put that subtitle. Episode 21, grinding. Subtitle, stop and smell the roses. I think it's important. Now, that is not to say that you shouldn't grind hard. Because, like, work hard, do hard, try hard. Try to get good at what you want to do. Never settle. Never just, like, stop and think, I don't need to get any better than I am now. Because the point of life is to, like, grow and to experience and to become good. Like, get good. I think that's the meaning of life. Just get good at stuff, and get good at stuff you love. Things that video games have taught me. Get good. Subtitle. Episode 21, grind. Subtitle, stop and smell the roses. Subtitle, get good. Volume, get good. Just, like, try to be good. Work hard. Grind. Put all the effort you can in. But don't hesitate to take a day off. And don't stop yourself from looking back. And don't forget to appreciate what you've done and where you've come from and how much you've actually grown. And evaluate yourself and look at the way you've changed and the way you've grown and the way that you've gone in one direction and not the other direction, and the way things are different than what you thought they would be, and the way things are the same as what you thought they would be. Like, take that time and don't lose that time. Don't forget to do that time because you are trying to get that time. Like, I think people spend so much time trying to get good that they don't realize how good they've gotten. I think that's the best way I can say it. Subtitle. Just realize what you have accomplished, because it is really good and really healthy and really worth it. And don't let grinding so hard 110% of the time make you realize that you can't. I don't know, I lost that sentence. I tried to like this joint. Give me a second. And that was where the roach clip comes in handy. Just work hard, but realize that while you are trying to get better, you are getting better. Give yourself a chance to realize that. Don't waste all your time just trying to accomplish what you may have already accomplished in some way. I'm just gonna hit you with bits of wisdom between puffs of this joint for a little while. And to answer your question, if you have it, I don't know what gives me the right to talk about this. I am in a sense nobody. I'm just putting my thoughts out there. So don't feel like I'm some expert, you know? Maybe this doesn't work for you. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know. I just feel like I'm just some guy smoking weed in my basement talking to a microphone. Don't feel like my word is law. But these are things that have made positive impacts in my life, and that's the way that my brain is processing it. And I hope that it can make some sort of positive impact in your life. That's what I really care about. I should end this episode. We're getting a little late in time. I may just run until this joint is out. It could be a little bit of a long episode. I don't think it'll last too much longer. Yeah, so after all of that, my name is GLDLX. Hello. This has been Sesh Cast, a little podcast that I do where I get high and I talk about things. And I appreciate you listening to an episode. Thank you for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble really hard for like a while. About as long as a Netflix, or a TV show on Netflix. I do these podcasts once a week, and I talk about different things every time, and sometimes they're real interesting and real random, and sometimes they make no sense. I don't know. I just get high. I get high, and then I pick something to talk about, and then I talk about it while I get high again. And I'm really high right now. Pretty much uncut, unless something crazy happens, like I forget a lighter or something like that. So it's just me getting higher and talking about things. Available in all your podcasting places. In case you're listening to this somewhere that is less than convenient for you, there are other apps you can use, I promise. Go find one. I am probably there. On the Instagrams, at Sesh Cast. That is all one word, SESHCAST. I have a website. It's lame, but I get it for free. You can check that out at seshcast.libsyn.com. That is LIBSYN.com. And I don't know why I've really turned this into like the end of an episode of Zoom, but here it is. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, that's great. Always looking to say hello. Feel free to. Or shoot me an email if you want. That is SeshCast GLDLX, the abbreviation for my nickname. SeshCastGoldilocks@gmail.com. Say hello. That'd be cool. Oh, I talked the joint out. Oh, bad form. Oh, nope. Maybe it's just empty. Oh, well. I guess that means it's time for me to go. So, cheers, friends. Thanks for hanging out through all of this. Hope it meant something to you. Catch me on the next episode. It'll be out next Thursday. And if you have friends who you think might be into this, feel free to let them know. Don't force it on your friends. Don't have to go be a Jehovah's Witness for me. That would be kind of weird. Nothing against Jehovah's Witnesses. I just don't understand your marketing tactics. Thank you so much for listening.